I started in jail, actually.
Okay.
In jail.
Yeah. Now, jumping in kind of your career in comedy. Yeah. Where did we start? Did it start in Oakland?
I started in jail, actually.
Okay.
Started in jail.
You have a new special coming out. What's the name of that special again?
I just want to go back to my cell.
So let's go into that world. You know, how do we end up in a cell?
Originally?
Yeah.
Kind of a strange story. I was pretty wild. I was pretty much out on my own about 16 years old. A lot of conflicts at home, a lot of other stuff going on. My mother's the most amazing woman in the world, but she couldn't really handle some of the responsibilities of raising two boys by herself, and we were both kind of wild. So I was out on my own about 16. You know, I was just seeking guidance. Had no father. My father was never there. Then my stepfather left too. Always seeking guidance, always seeking acceptance. And, you know, I started hanging out with people that sold drugs. And I never really wanted to sell drugs. I just wanted to be a part of that world. So I would sell drugs just to be a part of it. So, you know, everything started getting worse and worse and worse. It's kind of snowballed into me being way too involved in that world. And then a drug deal, somebody robbed a friend of ours who was selling drugs. And as retaliation, we were supposed to beat him up and, you know, take him in Oakland Hills and strip him naked, make him walk home. It all sounded wonderful at that age. Like, yeah, let's get this dude. When in reality, once we got to the apartment to grab him, the person who was with me just started shooting everybody. So 5 people were shot. Only 1 person died. And in California, if you commit a felony that results in a death, you're guilty of that murder. So the felony was burglary because we entered a dwelling. So when I first got arrested, I was charged with first-degree murder, 4 attempted murders, and a burglary. And I asked my court-appointed lawyer, why do I have a burglary attached? What's the point of that? And they said, so they can turn it into felony murder. And I said, okay, well, what's felony murder? He said, special circumstances. I said, oh, they're going to give me special treatment. That's how dumb I was. He goes, no, that's the death penalty. I said, so I'm going to get the death penalty? He said, no, you're a minor. You can't get the death penalty, but they will LWOP you, life without parole. So I was facing life.
You said LWOP you?
LWOP, life without the possibility of parole. They call it LWOP.
So what was your immediate feeling hearing one? Were you that cool when I might get the death penalty?
No, I was terrified. I was more too scared to speak. I was just like confused. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't do anything. You know, as a side note, one of the things that saved my life in this outcome of this sentencing was there was a witness who said the white guy started freaking, screaming, crying, stop, don't shoot them, stop, please stop. I didn't want anyone to get hurt, you know what I mean? I wasn't my bag. I wasn't that type of dude. I wasn't a gangster or a thug. I was a hippie, man. I grew up like a hippie, a flower child. And I just happened to get involved in this world because when you rub elbows with criminals, you know, you're liable to get a couple criminal fleas on you. Right. So, you know, I ended up doing about 8 years. Luckily, this guy, I wish I could remember his name right now because he definitely influenced my life immensely. He had a hall called American Hall, which is, it's a programmer hall. It's kind of like Oz. The whole concept of Oz is Emerald City is a separate dorm from the rest of the main population, and they're people who do better programs, have more privileges. That's the whole point of Oz. A lot of people don't know that because they've been locked up. They don't know what Oz is really about, but that's the point of Oz. Anyway, he took me to a hall. There was a programmer hall. It was for people who were doing good. He just took me over there because he was black. He was the counselor was black, and he was tired of this shit. He was like, you better leave that little white boy alone. So he had me shipped over to his hall, because he said he needed a worker to be on the floor while the modified programs are getting transferred out, because they can't be amongst other people who aren't on the same type of program. But I was automatically a modified program because I just got out of the hole. So while I was in there, they put me in a room with this guy named Lacey Jackson, Straight Lace, who was a rapper, and it was a wonderful blessing to be in that room because you're unmodified, you have nothing, no snacks, no TV, no nothing. This dude was on a phase 3, which is the highest level, 13-inch screen TV, noodles and zooms and whams, all kind of goodies to eat. I was living the life. So he got signed to a record deal while he was locked up, and the staff wanted to see him perform his music with his beats. So they set up a talent show to make it fair for all the races, because everything's got to be fair racially in jail. So I wanted to watch him perform. It's my homeboy, it's my cellmate. I want to watch him perform. So they said, put your flag out. You want to watch the talent show. A flag, you just put a piece of paper in the door and wave it. They come by and take your name down. So the dude came by to my door, put my flag out. He said, Williams, you can't watch this. You ain't come out. You unmodified. Boy, you can't come out here. And I was like, please, man, let me watch the show. He said, you can watch it if you're in it. Kind of calling my bluff. I was like, all right, put me down. but I didn't have talent. I didn't know what I could do. I didn't know what I could do. So we have a vent system. We call it the wire. A vent like that. You can talk to everybody on the top tiers.
Gotcha.
You just yell to them. So you talk to your people. So I was on a wire. I said, what should I do, man? I can't do nothing. I ain't got no talent. I can't rap. But we used to have freestyle battles on the yard. And I couldn't rap, so I would do what they do on Wild Style now. I would snap on people kind of to a beat. And I was funny, man. And I was just super funny. That kept me alive in there, was just being funny all the time. I was funnier in there in my personal life than I am now, because I had no worries on a certain level. So they said, do comedy, man. You're the funniest dude we know. And I thought about it. I said, all right, that's what I'm going to do. And I'd never actually really even seen stand-up. I'd never seen Comic View. I'd never seen any stand-up. I'd only heard albums for stand-up. So I wrote a set, and I won. And actually, the funny thing is, I came out, I got my jeans all pressed up. We pressed your jeans under the bed, got my creases up, got all ready for the talent show. And they said, you can't come out like that. You still unmodified. So they stripped me down to my boxers, put me in hand shackles and leg irons. I had to go out. My first performance doing stand-up, I was in hand shackles and leg irons.
What kind of material are you telling inmates?
I was mostly doing stuff about jail. I would do stuff about staff. I remember one joke I did. It's all kind of a blur now. It was just kind of freestyling. It's just that I felt that energy that I could do this. It was just that magic that only comedians feel.
Did you go like personal?
No, I said stuff about. Well, there's this one staff named Bert. I can't remember his name, but he used to always appear at your door when you had your window covered because you were taking a shit. Because this toilet is right next to the door, which has got a little window. You can only cover your window 3/4 of the way, so they can still peer in. He would just always come and look at you, take a shit. So that was funny, and it was really silly humor, but it was more about having that personality for the stage. I had it. That's what comedians have. You have it, or you don't. It's kind of like singing.
Did you like start studying? Or did
I had no avenue to study. There was no internet. I had no access to anything. I just started writing jokes that I thought were funny, and most of my jokes, so I was drawing from my experiences, and my experiences were mostly black culture. Right. So I would make jokes about that, and that's sort of what led into Comic View and being on the black circuit.
I'm wondering, while you're writing these jokes, did you start visualizing how you were gonna continue this comedy path?
It was just kind of something to hold on to, and I know I have something to do when I get out. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I get out, but I know I'm gonna get on stage. Right. And that was just it, and that was just right in front of me. I know I'm going to get on stage when I get out, and we'll see what happens there. So I started doing stand-up, and then I started.
What was the first place you went to?
Dorsey's Locker in Oakland, California. And Linnell was the host. Love you, Linnell. So Linnell was the host, Dorsey's Locker in Oakland, and I didn't know nobody there. I didn't know nobody in the place. It's a hood-ass spot, too. I wanted to get some stage time. I had to get on stage. This is the second night out. I got out on July 4th, my birthday.
And you got out on your birthday?
Got out on my birthday. Got out on my birthday. So I found Dorsey's Locker, and I came up in that spot, and Kirk McHenry was there, Daniel Dugar, a bunch of Oakland comedians were there, and this whole story's funny too. So my mind is all messed up. I'm kind of in a weird mental space, but I knew I wanted to get on stage. So I went up to, I can't remember the DJ's name, Oris Washington. The DJ. He was the DJ at Dorsey's Locker. And I went up to him and said, hey man, I'm a comedian out of town from Colorado. Whitest place I could think of. I've been on Comedy Central, man. I just want to try and do some black material.
Why did you lie that you're from Colorado?
I didn't think they'd let me up if I said I'm just a comedian from Oakland. I thought...
I felt that it was too basic.
Well, yeah, I also thought that, growing up in the hood and around black people, I understand that sometimes black people are more inclined to kiss people's ass if they think they're white circuit, Comedy Central. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's deep.
And it was kind of like... I'm a white guy who did Comedy Central. Can I bless your stage?
Can I bless your stage?
Is that cool? So they were like, yeah. So Linnell announced me. This guy, we worked together so many times. He's been on Comedy Central, man. He's one of my favorite comedians. Coming to the stage, Nema Williams. And I love Linnell for it because she does that for everybody. It wasn't just for me. It's just that her mentality, her mind was like, I may not know him, but he's probably on a white circuit, so I wouldn't know him. He might be about to blow. I don't know. So then I did my set. I did pretty good. I didn't kill, but pretty good. And then I whispered in Linnell's ear. I said, that's my first time ever on stage. Thank you for bringing me out like that. And she said, hold on, N-word, I can't say it. Come back up here. And she said, this is this man's first time on stage ever. What's your name again? Nema Williams. Everybody started clapping. So then I was about to leave, and Kirk McHenry, his comedian, said, yo, come in the back real quick. And my mind is so still messed up from jail. I thought they were about to jump me. I walk in the back with all these comedians. And I'm immediately like, what y'all want to do, man? What's happening? What's happening? They're like, oh, calm down. We just want to talk to you about doing more shows. And I was like, okay. And I said, man, I really got to get my mind right. And I just started doing the circuit. And I was on Comic View 8 months after I got out. Because I did the Bay Area Black Comedy Competition. And the person who ran the Bay Area Black Comedy Competition was Tony Spires. And he was the booker for Comic View. So my first episode of Comic View was in Atlanta. Ricky Smiley was hosting, and I only been doing comedy for 8 months. And then from there, it just kind of snowballed into something bigger than I was, because out of nowhere, I was on tour with Cedric. I was shooting a DVD with Cedric. I had all this stuff going on that I wasn't even prepared for. I didn't have the material. I didn't have the mental capacity. I didn't have the social skills. I did not need to be in this world so quickly. So before I knew it, I was Nema Williams with 4 or 5 Comic View appearances and a DVD with Cedric, and I toured with Cedric. I just didn't understand. All of a sudden, I'm way bigger than I actually was. It just was a lot, man. It just was a lot to take on.